Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Trina here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 3 of season 4 of What If Deku Was Given the 6 Paths Power. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin.
No, it can't be!
In the air, Uraraka witnessed as everything below her turned gray and withered away. Seconds prior, she, alongside Nejire, Tsuyu, and Ryukyu, had managed to secure the giant villain by making it crash against the chasm. Still, now only Nejire remained by her side as Tsuyu and Ryukyu had faded away. Uraraka didn't know how to react as she came to realize that everyone that had been down there was gone.
Tsuyu, Kirishima, Deku, Aizo-sensei!
Her eyes began to water up as reality finally hit her.
No, what just happened? Togata, Hamachiki!
Nejire's thoughts swirled as she tried to understand what had occurred below her. Everything as the eye could see was now just dusted stone. It began to settle down on her head as she saw Uraraka crying softly next to her. It couldn't be, right?
That can't be right! No! We are the big three! We don't lose! Right, Togata? Hamachiki? You could have just did...
But she stopped her thoughts by placing her hands over her mouth. A single tear escaped her eye. If this assumption were to be accurate, then that meant that all the people in the city had been wiped out. The police force, the pro-heroes, her mentor Ryukyu as well, her friends, and even one of her precious kohai. It was known that Nejire always kept a level head, making others laugh and naturally appearing childish. But now she couldn't keep that up. Knowing that someone had committed this just under her feet made her feel responsible. Even more so when she realized that her mentor had perished because she had helped by sending her ways to knock down the villain alongside her master to the now gone floor. Frustration crept up within her. An incompetent fool was all she felt like now. But as she tried to reason with herself, she spotted someone emerging from the crater. The man wore all black, and his white hair flowed with the wind. Putting it together, she understood that this guy must have been the one responsible for the genocide, so she knew what she needed to do. Uraraka, get out of here and go as far as you can! I'll handle that monster myself! Nejire shouted as she focused her energy for an attack. This made Uraraka snap out of her crying state as she now looked down at the man that her senpai had just mentioned.
Shigaraki?
The young girl's blood froze as she quickly identified the villain that was now staring up at them, a smile barely able to be seen from up here.
Tomoe Shigaraki from the first year incidents. So everyone is indeed gone. Forgive me for not being enough, but right now, I can still save my remaining kohai. Overloaded full charge, 1,000! Plus, Ultra Nejire Wave! Fight!
She screamed and shot a concentrated piercing wave towards the Lord of Evil below.
Ooh, a wave show.
Shigaraki commented upon seeing it, using one of his quirks to absorb it.
Neat quirk, I want it.
He then shouted as he teleported himself in front of her. The girl had been unable to register the sudden movement in time, so she wasn't capable of dodging Shigaraki's grasp. He grabbed her by the face and zoomed into the crater below, crashing her face against the hard stone. A quick chuckle then escaped him as he stole her quirk.
Thanks for the donation. I appreciate it,
he said as he formed a small yellow wave from his finger, mocking her. The girl burst into tears. It had been all meaningless. Everything up until now, all her training, title, friendships, and quirk, had been taken away. It was a true nightmare given form.
You were Nejire-chan, right? One of the big three? Well, more like the big none now. But let's refocus. I have known about you for a while, and every time I saw stuff about you, all I could think was that you're a literal child in a woman's body. Just look at your hero name. No matter though, I have the perfect remedy for your childish status ailment,
Shigaraki said, and then pulled out his stylized gun once more to shoot it at her, first beginning with just a single shot. An attempt to evade it was made, but it resulted in failure as it hit her right in the chest, its effects beginning to show right after.
You see? Now it's slightly more justifiable to act the way you do. You know, it's a bit personal to me. That girl up there who's approaching us shot one of my colleagues twice with the same type of bullet I just shot you with. Her name is Toga, and the girl was left as a 10-year-old only because a hero considered her a threat. She has recovered, yes, but it's become hard for her to continue doing the things she used to do, and I believe that should be charged for. So I'll give you an offer, little Nejire-chan. I have one bullet left to make things right for my friend, so I'll give you a choice. Either let me shoot you again, or I'll use it on the gravity brat.
Nejire, now done with her effects, was able to stand up and she stood face to face with a symbol of fear.
And how can I trust you after all you've done? The crimes you committed, you cannot be forgiven and even less trusted. You wiped away everyone here without batting an eye, and now you're expecting to make a deal?
Nejire exclaimed.
Most. I wiped out most. But some do remain. The badass Aizawa, the now retired Eri, and the cheater Izuku Midoriya all lived. I can choose who and who doesn't get decayed by my quirk. A little upgrade I acquired while getting my system update installed. So I guarantee you that they lived, so no need to go around spreading lies. As for trusting me, it's up to you. I could game over any one of you with my admin privileges if I so desired, but I don't see the reason to. But your choice time is starting to run out. If the girl gets here before you decide, then I'll unload my entire clip on both of you, and neither will live to tell the tale. So I recommend deciding already. Just look at it like this. Either quirkless little you becomes a bit younger than you already got a minute ago, or allow me to open up the girl's trauma right up as she becomes incapable of being a hero. The choice is yours.
Shigaraki proposed, patiently awaiting a response as the timer grew closer to reaching 0.
Shoot me then. I won't let you harm her again.
Nejire immediately responded, accepting her fate. A few years would be nothing compared to failing one of her kohai again.
Nice choice,
he said as he pulled the trigger. Once more, a teal-colored bullet hit Nejire, and the affix began their encore performance. What once was her royal blue skin-tight bodysuit now loosened at a tremendous speed. Her descent was quite noticeable. Her features softened, and her face became even rounder as she reached the age of 11. A true preteen in every sense of the world. Both her wrist guards and her yellow gauntlets fell off as the transformation concluded. She was now a simple kid wearing a very loose and now draping bodysuit. The girl could only stare up at the towering demon in front of her. He was smiling creepily as he placed the weapon back in his pocket.
A deal's a deal, Nejire-chan. Before I leave, though, I'll give you some energy. You must be exhausted after that big attack of yours, which was then followed by 2 back-to-back rewinds. So here you go,
he said while flicking a small yellow orb towards the girl. A surge of energy befell Nejire as the orb made contact with her. It left her feeling better than ever before. But this made her angrier.
Don't think that I'll thank you for that!
She shouted, giving Shigaraki a piece of her mind.
No need. Well, see you later,
he stated as he waved her goodbye, but he then dodged the strike of a scythe coming his way. Gravity had arrived.
How dare you do that to my senpai!
Uraraka screamed as she kept swinging. The more she swung, the stronger they got.
I thought that you enjoyed a little game of role reversal, he snickered. Now somebody can look up to you and call you senpai.
Shut your mouth!
Uraraka then screamed as her frustration grew bigger. Everything that had transpired, and even worse, she couldn't land a single hit on him.
That's enough, little tsundere.
The scythe has been caught by Shigaraki, making Uraraka let go and jump back. He threw it to the side right after.
Your boyfriend is still kicking, and so is a pro hero that's always looking out for you. No need to be so angry, you know?
You're still alive!
Uraraka thought as tears almost came back out, but she held them back.
And you expect to thank you for that? Fuck you, Shigaraki!
Uraraka shot back, swearing coming from her seemed wrong.
Whoa, a kid swearing! Someone call the police! Oh wait, they're all dusted. Just roll with it, brat. I'm done with my loose ends now, so soon I'll retire from villainy, Shigaraki said. He had genuinely meant it.
What do you mean by quit? You can't just quit! After all you've done, you deserve to have justice strangle you for all eternity!
Very funny. I'm not joking, though. After today, I realize that it bores me. I'm so powerful that nobody can stand in my way anymore. So being a villain seems kinda empty, to be honest. So I think that I'll just do things that I enjoy, like playing video games and hanging out with friends. Wait, no. That's it! I can open up a game studio and become a video game developer. I can see it now. Villainy Reforged presents Reborn to Decay for the TS5. That would be so awesome!
Shigaraki squealed. His eyes were shining like flaming disco balls.
What? No, that's ridiculous! You can't just go on with your life without paying for the consequences of your actions! I won't let you!
Uraraka shouted as she picked her scythe back from the floor and swung it at him.
I already have.
Shigaraki snickered and teleported away, completely ignoring the girl's threat.
Damn it!
She screamed in frustration, planting her weapon on the floor.
Uraraka, we have to find the others,
Nejire said right behind her. She'd picked up her previously discarded hero suit parts.
I know.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN. Staying safe online is an ever-growing difficulty, and hackers could exploit you. NordVPN allows you to change your IP address, making you harder to track, securing your privacy. In addition to providing with safe passage through the web, you can also expand the reach of your favorite streaming services. Are you tired of going through 2, 3, or even 4 streaming services to watch your favorite anime? Well, with NordVPN, you can change your country and be able to binge shows like My Hero Academia, Naruto, and many others on your favorite streaming service with just a press of a button. Check out the link in the description to get 72% off when buying for 2 years /$3.29 a month. This deal's for a limited time. And thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Izuku woke up a week later in a hospital bed. He tried to get up, but he couldn't move his legs or even feel the lower side of his body. His right arm was in a huge white cast. It only took him a minute to remember what had happened to leave him in this state. And after it, he scanned his own body. A severed spine, all ribs broken, 7 missing teeth, and many more minor injuries were now accumulated upon his body.
6 paths, creation of all things,
he said, it being barely audible. With this jutsu, Izuku Midori could create anything with his chakra. The yin-yang nature that Hagoromo had taught him had no limits as long as you could imagine it, and also had the chakra to force it into reality. In the past, the Sage of the 6 Paths had used the same jutsu to create Nine-Tailed Beast, which meant that he could create life with it. But the jutsu could actually create anything without exceptions. So with this in mind, he recreated his spine, missing teeth, ribcage, and the entirety of his right arm from scratch. It had taken him a load of chakra to make it happen, but now he was back to normal. With a swift movement, he left the bed and broke the cast, setting his sight on the room's window. It was very late at night, so he quietly proceeded to open the window, transform, and fly out of the hospital, still in his hospital gown. A few moments later, he had made it home, and he used the spare key hidden inside a secret compartment. He opened the door, and his mother had fallen asleep on the couch. Dry tears could be seen on her face, and next to her, an album of Izuku photos could be spotted.
I'm sorry for worrying you, Mom. I didn't mean to ever make you feel this way,
Izuku sincerely said in his mind, wanting to tell her this, but at the same time, it was for the best if he didn't wake her up. So instead, he carefully sat next to her, falling asleep rather quickly. The next day was just bombshell after bombshell for the young boy. Everything that had transpired since he fell into a short coma had left him speechless. It first started with him being told about the deletion of an entire city off the very face of the planet, the one where he had been fighting at. He cursed even more afterward when he found out that it had been Shigaraki's doing once more. Well, not just this one, but also the one that housed the Meta Liberation Army, Deku City, 2 days after the previous one. And as a final love letter to villainy, he also took down the main HQ of the video game company known as Besuda Softworks Studios, a well-known game company that usually put out extremely broken games on release, but slowly fixed them to some extent with post-release patches. It was true that their methods had sometimes bordered on the line of evildoing, but this didn't mean that they had to be decayed into non-existence. The funny thing, or rather terrifying thing, was that hours after doing so, Shigaraki, alongside the League members, took over a news channel to announce their retirement as villains. And not just that, but that there would be an even bigger announcement coming up soon, so everyone needed to tune in to see it.
What kind of bizarre world did I wake up in? This can't be real! He can't keep getting away with it!
The news had clearly altered Deku, but this was just the start. He for sure wasn't ready for the next one as he collapsed to the floor on all fours upon hearing it. The once prestigious school that he had dreamed of graduating in had closed its doors after what was now named the First Disintegration Genocide, shortly after Director Nezu had been assassinated by a parent of one of the many students that had perished from Class 1A, his brains being blown right off his rodent head as he was attending a public apology.
What am I supposed to do now? Is becoming a hero even viable when someone like Shigaraki exists out there?
The boy wondered. Reality had been twisted into a ridiculous mess. Inko then apologized for having to give him the bad news. But this wasn't everything, of course, just the bits that she knew. She then recommended her son to go see Uraraka to check if she knew anything else, and also to tell her that he was okay now. Izuku thanked her and went up to Uraraka's apartment. On the fly there, he noticed that things seemed relatively normal in the city as if nothing had happened. Perhaps society had somehow accepted Shigaraki's blatant lie of a statement as a fact. He could only let out a long sigh after thinking this. It was just too outlandish to believe. But he didn't have to bother with that, though, for long as he reached his destination and rang the doorbell. The door opened just seconds after. and he felt as if he was hugged tightly.
You should have called me, you dummy!
She cried out, digging herself deeper into his embrace.
I was so worried that you would never wake up. So it's very rude to disappear like this, you know?
Sorry about that. The boy apologized and then continued. But my phone was destroyed at the Shie Hasaikai compound. The girl, upon hearing this, shoved him back and crossed her arms over her chest.
Cheap excuse, Deku. You know my number by now.
The girl was now full on pouting. His response had annoyed her quite a bit. I know. I just wanted to see you, that's all. I woke up yesterday very late at night and flew home right after. I came as soon as possible, but even then, I'm sorry for making you worry so much. Uraraka turned to face him again, and she realized that he was being truthful. She just couldn't stay mad at him, even less after all that had occurred that day.
Are you up to date with everything?
She asked, worried that she would have to break it all up for him. My mom told me some stuff, but I'm sure that she doesn't know the full story, so I was hoping that you could fill in whatever I'm missing, he explained.
I see. Well, let's go inside then. I'll serve you something to drink, okay?
She proposed in a way, as she grabbed his hand and began pulling him inside without him answering. Sure, that would be great! And so, they went inside and got ready for the briefing. Now, with their drinks in hand, they could begin. First, Uraraka asked him about what he knew, and he explained everything that he had heard. With everything accounted for, Uraraka went on to tell him what he was missing.
Oh, look, this might be hard to hear, but nearly 50,000 people died when Shigaraki unleashed his decay while we were on the raid.
50,000?!
Yeah, so many innocent people were snapped away, and we were part of the few lucky ones that survived. I guess that your mother didn't know, but well, you ate close because even more students from her class passed away. Deku, with Kirishima and Tsuyu are gone.
Tears began to form as a wound had opened inside her once more. No! Stop! You can't be serious! They can't be gone! The boy shouted, raising his voice quite a bit but then lowering it upon noticing it.
That's the truth, Deku! They all disappeared along the city!
Uraraka momentarily stopped to recompose herself and then continued.
But 5 people miraculously made it out! As you can already tell, there's you and me as 2 out of those 5. Then there's Aizawa-sensei. He was found unconscious, half buried in the vast amounts of dust. But thankfully, he wasn't harmed in any substantial way. Oh, and Nejire-senpai also made it out as she was airborne with me when it happened. And the final one is Eri.
Is she alright? Deku immediately asked, pushing the table down with both of his hands.
Yeah, she's doing fine. Aizawa-sensei got her full custody shortly after she woke up.
She answered, hoping that this would prevent Deku from breaking her table. That's a relief, he then said, and took his hands off the table, which made the girl sign relief.
But Deku, did everyone say that she was a little girl in the meeting? Like a kid? Because when I found you two, she didn't even look a year old.
Oh, that. I'm guessing that Shigaraki shot her after he found her. She was mortally wounded when I arrived, and my fight with Chisaki didn't let me get back to her. Midori answered. It was just an assumption as he couldn't fully confirm it.
That twisted mother...
She exclaimed, but stopped herself before she could finish, leaving Izuku perplexed.
Sorry about that. Recently, I've been getting triggered every time that I remember or imagine him doing what he did to me to somebody else. It's just an immediate reaction that I can barely control. Maybe it's because I feel responsible, as I was unable to prevent Nejire-senpai from getting shot.
So she also got shot then?
Yeah, 2 times.
She answered, hating having to admit it. I can't believe that it wasn't enough with just you or Eri. He also had to get her as well, the boy said in an angry tone, feeling even more incompetent as he could have prevented each and every one of those from happening.
I also don't understand why, but we can't change the past, so we should stop dwelling on it. We have the future to look out for.
The girl cheerfully stated, trying to hide her true feelings. I suppose, Midoriya commented. He was feeling more down than he felt earlier.
Cheer up! Hey! I got something to show you! Look!
Uraraka exclaimed as she went over and pulled something out of her closet.
Ta-da!
She said, presenting the black and red sailor uniform she now had in hand.
I got accepted to Kurosukan Academy! I'll be starting next week.
But how? That's the most prestigious non-hero school in all of Japan. Even rich families would struggle to pay up the tuition, Midoriya loudly pointed out, trying to piece together how someone like her could pay up for such a privilege.
Aizawa-sensei got me a scholarship. He told me to make the best out of this opportunity to build a better future for myself. so I accepted it. I will do my best to keep moving forward for all those that can, so I will never give up.
It had been a bit embarrassing to admit it, but she had said it loud and clear. Izuku got up and went over to her, placing his hand on top of her hair and caressing it. He then followed it with a hug similar to the one she had given him upon his arrival. "Congrats! I'll be rooting for you all the way," he told her, knowing that she would conquer this trial. She jumped out of the hug and pointed her finger at him.
You better know it!
She exclaimed, trying to sound like her older self.
But I'll still go to you if I ever need help with any class, if that's okay with you.
She then added, turning a bit red in the process. "I'll be happy to help you at any time, Uraraka." He smiled at her and signaled a high five, which she responded to with her very own.
Okay then, that's enough friendly chatter. Time to go back to what we were doing.
Uraraka grabbed his hand again, and they returned to the table. There was still quite a bit to tell him, she thought, and when she did, the boy didn't react well at all. "Seriously, everyone is accepting this blatant trickery? After everything he's done, after all those he killed, and he gets to be a game dev? What a sick joke! No! He orchestrated every aspect of it! He'll never change. Ever since the first time we encountered each other, he has always been a glorified sociopath. He couldn't keep his hands out of committing atrocities with his ragtag group of misfits! And he gets to be pardoned by society? What a sick fucking joke! I should have stopped him when I had the chance. At the mall before he shot you. Before he erased our classmates. Before he decayed over 150,000 innocent people. Before he ruined everything." Deku ranted, and then fell headfirst to the table, defeated. It was all his fault, after all. His inaction had allowed Shigaraki to get this far. Uraraka approached and embraced him gently, later on caressing his hair as well. He had started to cry by then.
Shh, shh. It's okay. It's okay. Someday, we'll make things right. I promise.
Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. If you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Next, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. And if you want more content from me, check out my Twitch live at Trina Do Heart. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.